I may be light on my feet, but this video is heavy on content. It's for adults only. Viewer discretion is advised. Well, hello there, my friends. Here I am, Gavin Fish, on my channel, in a very green shirt, welcoming you to another live stream. I'm glad you're here. On my channel, we like to get into the nitty-gritty of true crime. We like to cut through the fluff and sensationalism, just do good, solid, deep dives like a lot of other terrific channels do too. I'm not the only one doing this. I'm just one of the ones doing it and having a good time. And I'm grateful you're here. You might notice over in the live chat, you've got like a respectful, amazing group of people who are chatting with one another. And why are they doing that? Because the people who on this channel are awesome. My moderators are awesome. So I just want to start out right from the beginning with a thanks to my moderators for keeping it rad around here. And before we dive in, we're going to be diving into the case of Lily and Jack Sullivan. We're going to be looking for an answer to a question that I didn't even think to ask. It happens to me all the time, man. But we're going to get into that. But first, I was reminded by one of our moderators, Robin, to talk to you about a live stream that we did on Wednesday with Anna Sonoda. It was part 1 of 3. For the next 2 Wednesdays, we're going to be having Anna back, and we're talking about protecting our children, being proactive and protecting our children from would-be predators. Anna is a licensed clinical social worker. She has a master's degree in social work. She has worked with offenders who are imprisoned. She has learned so much. She's the author. I don't want to say the name of it on this, but she's an author of a book on the subject. And so what I want you to do is tune in on Wednesday for the second part with Anna. But also, I'd really like you, if you have questions for her, to come on over to my page, my website. Link is down below. And just put in your, I don't know, put it in general contact probably. Yeah, just choose general contact. And if you have a question for Anna on next Wednesday's live stream with her, please stick it in there, and we're going to do our best to be a little more proactive about answering questions. We had so much content this past Wednesday that we didn't get to do that, and it was really quite a shame because, I mean, interacting with you good folks is the reason that we do this, right? Okay. Let's go ahead and hop into the case of missing children, Lily and Jack Sullivan. Lily, 6 years old, Jack, 4 years old, went missing on May 2nd of this year. So we're coming up on 60 days. And while I really hope that these kiddos can be found safe, I think that the reality is kind of setting in for many of us. Now, Lily and Jack are the children of Malaya Brooks Murray. We haven't heard much from her since basically the interview that this screen grab came from. She and her partner, the children's stepfather, Daniel Martell, basically lost track of their kids on May 2nd. They were in bed. They heard Lily and Jack in the other room. Then they stopped hearing them. So the story goes, they went out looking for them, have not been able to find them. Search crews have been all over the place. This is in Nova Scotia, Canada. They've been all over the place trying to look for the children alive, now trying to look for the children not alive. And in the very beginning of this, both Daniel and Malaya, I actually got a picture of them together here, were begging the RCMP for an Amber Alert. Now, I remember the RCMP saying we don't fit the criteria for an Amber Alert, but the question that I forgot to ask is, what is each criterion? What is the one that you are missing? One or more, right? I never asked that question, and I read an article today that enlightened me that I wanted to share with you guys. It's over on the CBC, so join me over here on the CBC. Okay, 7 weeks later, this was published on the 20th. So, I mean, it was updated recently, which is why I saw it. But so now it's been almost 8 weeks later, and we still, why wasn't an Amber Alert issued is what I want to talk about here. And several of you in the comments already know the answer to this. I didn't know the answer. And because on this channel, we seek to learn something new as often as we can, I thought that I would do this, and we would talk about why the Amber Alert wasn't issued. Okay, 7 weeks, this was on the 20th, after 2 children went missing from a rural Nova Scotia community, family members are still questioning why an Amber Alert wasn't issued for Lily and Jack Sullivan. The young siblings have been missing since the morning of May 2nd when police received a 911 call reporting they had wandered away from their home in Lansdowne Station, about 140 kilometers northeast of Halifax. RCMP have said all along that the case did not meet the criteria for the alert and are now providing more details on the factors that are considered and the process that plays out in such situations. Give me a second. I'm struggling with a little cold here, and I'm making sounds I don't want to share, so I'm going to be muting here every once in a while. But I did want to say, the RCMP has been terrific in this whole process. They really have. Okay, Amber Alerts are a national public notification system used to help find abducted children believed to be in imminent danger. Hang on just a second. Sorry, guys. And that is what Daniel and Malaya thought. They thought their children were abducted. We need an Amber Alert. That's what they said from practically the beginning. So Amber Alerts are a national public notification system used to help find abducted children believed to be imminent danger. This is true in Canada. This is also true in the United States. Corporal Guillaume Tremblay, who works in the RCMP's communications unit, was working the day of the disappearance and reviewed the policy on Amber Alerts. He said the criteria state there must be something to point the public toward, such as a suspect, a person of interest, or a vehicle. And that rings perfectly true, right? I mean, when we see Amber Alerts, when we see Amber Alerts, it says something like, missing children in imminent danger. Be on the lookout for a gray Honda bearing Indiana license plate, blah, 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 right? It gives very specific information. I'm sure you guys, or I imagine you guys, would have seen, at least if you live in the United States and Canada, the signs above like freeways, where they're big. You can easily read them as you're traveling along, but they give that much information. We are looking for Lily and Jack Sullivan. They may be in a gray Honda, Indiana plates. That what I can't remember the example I just gave, but you know what I mean. And Guillaume Tremblay here is like, we don't have anything to point the public toward. Like, we don't have a suspect. We don't have a person of interest. We don't know if there was a vehicle involved. We have no idea. Quote, you want to direct the public to look for a specific vehicle, to look for that license plate, to look for that suspicious person, to have a photo of someone or more information to suggest that there was an abduction, said Tremblay in a recent interview. While Tremblay reviewed the policy, It's the risk manager appointed for every major incident. Goodness sake. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm just this this little bug that I've caught is not fun. I haven't lost a leg or anything. Don't worry about it. But anyway, I'm sorry if I cough in your ear. Very sorry about that. Okay. So while Tremblay reviewed the policy, it's the risk manager appointed in every major incident that ultimately decides if an alert should be sent out. In this case, the force issued 2 vulnerable persons alerts, not Amber Alerts. The first was sent at 12:43 p.m. on the day of the disappearance and was directed to cell phones across a swath of communities in northeastern parts of Nova Scotia's mainland, including Lansdowne Station and New Glasgow. So that's like within 3 hours of beginning the search for the children. These notifications went out to cell phones all over that part of Nova Scotia. The second was issued at 5:26 p.m. the following day, May 3rd, and included a larger area from Truro. Oh, that reminds me, Truro. No. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce Tatamagouche. I don't even know how to say it. I'm so sorry. And stretching across Antigonish. Okay, now I think Canada is just trolling me. These can't possibly be names of places. Okay, I love my neighbors to the north, but you're making that up. Okay, doesn't matter. All right. We take cases seriously around here. I'm not making light of Jack and Lily's disappearance, but we don't take ourselves seriously. Okay, I have to give that little disclaimer. Okay, and here's an example of that alert, right? Missing vulnerable people, Lily and Jack Sullivan, Lansdowne Station, Nova Scotia. The Nova Scotia RCMP is asking for the public's assistance in locating 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack. I noticed they had her name misspelled in the beginning, but that's not that big of a deal. They were last seen on May 1st on Garlick Road in Lansdowne Station, Pictou County. Lily has shoulder-length light brown hair with bangs. She might be wearing a pink sweater, pink pants, and pink boots. Jack has short blondish hair. He's wearing blue dinosaur boots. Anyone with information on the whereabouts of Lily and Jack is asked to call 902-485-4333 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-222-TIPS. All right. So, let's continue, and then I will withhold my commentary. For Daniel Martel, the children's stepfather, those alerts did not go far enough. He said he asked RCMP to issue an Amber Alert early on and to position officers at the New Brunswick and PIE borders and the airport, but was told the situation did not meet that criteria. Quote, I think they should have just bent the criteria at the moment, said Martel. It wasn't just one missing person, but 2 vulnerable children. Now, let me just say, in my neck of the woods, it sounds to me like he wanted to put police like a roadblock almost at the airport, at the borders of the different provinces or the different areas. To me, though, I really want Lily and Jack to be found. That whole idea, I think, goes too far. So while I sympathize with Mr. Martel, I think the police probably did the right thing. Going back over to this article, Lily and Jack's mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, posted to her Facebook page the day after the disappearance asking for an Amber Alert to be issued. RCMP have repeatedly said there is no evidence to suggest the children were abducted, but that hasn't quelled the concerns of Belinda Gray, the children's paternal grandmother. We saw her interview. She too wanted police to issue an Amber Alert given the children's vulnerability. Lily and Jack's mother and stepfather have both spoken to the media about how the siblings could have autism, but it has not been diagnosed. Gray says it's unfortunate an Amber Alert hinges on a specific car or person being identified as involved in a disappearance. These are vulnerable kids, she said. They do have a bit of learning disability, so that puts them even more vulnerable. The investigation has included searches of 8.5 square kilometers surrounding the children's home, including wooded areas, the family home, mine shafts, wells, septic systems, and lakes. And yeah, we've gone over a lot of that. Give me a second. Okay, so before I go on to the next thing, that was new information for me. I did not know that. I mean, it makes sense because, like I said, every time I've seen an Amber Alert, it has specific information. And I think that the endangered person alert or the vulnerable person alert, what do they called it? Missing vulnerable people. I think that had the same effect. It went to phones everywhere. Maybe the difference is it didn't go up on road signs and stuff. Maybe. I don't know. But I'm curious what you guys have to say. Let's bring up pictures of Lily and Jack. Let's see. Alicia Sanders says, you like the color of my shirt. This was a gift from my beloved Snuggly Bear. She gave it to me. I wasn't sure about it at first, but thank you. I like it too. Let's see. Let me scroll up to the top here and make sure that I get everybody here. Teresa said she knew why they were not issued, but was looking forward to what I had to say. Yeah, I didn't even know. And it actually gratifies me to learn these kinds of things. Guys, I am not a traditional true crime aficionado. I'm not a person that really consumes a lot of true crime stuff. And I know a lot of you are, right? I was brought into this because my friend Rick wanted to create a YouTube channel together, and he just suggested true crime. And so I went along with it and fell in love with it. So there's so many things that a lot of you guys already know that I am learning for the first time, and I'm grateful that I am. I love this opportunity to learn new things. Jennifer Dobbins says, the longer these little ones are missing, the more fear and worry I have in my gut. Yeah. Well, I mean, and statistically speaking, the longer that they are missing, the less likely that we're going to find them. Cassie says, thanks for having Anna on. She's doing such important work. Hey, and Anna is terrific. She made an amazing presentation, and she's got more for us. I mean, she divided basically the lecture that she gives when organizations have her come in to teach them this stuff. She divided it into 3 pieces for us so that we could digest it. Please, if you have questions for Anna, go to my website, gavinfish.com, click on this little icon right here, and just send your question in. I will actually send them to her prior to Wednesday so that she has a chance to go through them, so that she might be able to integrate those questions into her presentation on Wednesday. The other thing that I will say is, look how it hasn't had all that many views. 3.1 thousand views. And that is because I unmonetized the video, which makes it so that YouTube goes, I don't really want to put that out there. It got way more views than I thought it would get. only because so many of you were so generous and gave super chats that made YouTube go, oh, this is generating some income. Let's go ahead and put it out there. So thank you to all of you who did that. That was absolutely incredible. Deeply grateful for it. That reminds me, I need to send Susan the audio version of her book. Dang it, I haven't done that. I will do that, Susan. So sorry that I haven't done that. Anyway, please, 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 if you have questions for Anna in our next session on Wednesday, please send them my way. And I'm really hoping, actually, I don't know if I'm hoping it or not. I was about to say I'm really hoping that the kind of thing that Anna talked about didn't happen to Jack and Lily, but given the other option that maybe they perished in the woods, I'm in the middle of a Sophie's Choice moment here, guys. Really tough stuff. But I'm glad she came on too. Thanks, Cassie. Let's see. Patty Olson says you need a license plate and description of the car the children are in. Yeah. Totally new for me. The Bean and I. Is that you, Robin? Did you change? Robin. I think that is you. Gavin, you need a little nap and a snack. Get better soon. Yes, my wife was just telling me that. I am going to rest this weekend. That's what I'm going to do. I am for wine. Says, Gavin, why did Lily have her school bag? Why didn't Jack have his? Why did Mom call into the school to excuse their absence if she wasn't awake to assess them or look after them? I actually think that your question has a little bit of fact and a little bit of rumor. I'm not sure about the call into the school. You might be right. I don't know that. And I don't know why Lily had her school bag and Jack didn't have his. I have no idea. There's so many questions in this. When I listened to Malaya Brooks Murray, I was skeptical of what she was saying. But people who know her say this is kind of how she is, including her former, let's call her mother-in-law, the grandmother of the children, right? She's just kind of that way. So maybe she was acting normal for who she is. When I listen to Daniel Martell, I'm inclined to believe him. But that doesn't mean that I know what I'm talking about, right? On either one of those things. But I do have faith that the RCMP are asking these questions, and probably questions that are even better than that, as they try to get to the bottom of the case. Susan Lewis says, I need tea with honey and lemon. Thank you very much. Let's see. Nannerly says, I won't miss the live today. Thank you for sharing the update. Yes, indeed. Bonnie says, very interesting, the behavior panel's assessment of some of his interviews. I have watched a couple of those. Susan gifting some memberships. Susan, thank you so much. Which reminds me, we need to do our July members only live stream. I need to get that scheduled. Let me look at the calendar here real quick. Maybe we do that on July 5th. Yeah, so that'll be next Saturday. I'll get that scheduled. We'll do our members only live stream. It's going to be an Ask Me Anything. It's not going to be an Ascot Me Anything, because if you don't know this, there's a heat wave going on, and I am not wearing a suit in Ascot. You couldn't pay me enough to do it, but we will do an Ask Me Anything on the 5th. It is a little Irish springy. That is true. Robin Robinson says, Gavin, I'm curious about the mom and stepdad being involved in the drug scene. According to Mr. Martell, there was no drug party the night before, as was rumored. When I look at them, I do have some spidey senses about this. I do have some experience. I've shared with you guys before where I will sometimes go and in person cover a hearing day at at a court of common pleas here in Pennsylvania. And I will walk into the courtroom, I will look in the gallery, and I am always dead accurate which people are there for a hearing and which people are there supporting them. There's so many drug cases in our area that I've gotten a spidey sense, man. Gotten a spidey sense. These two people do not strike me as addicts. Doesn't mean I'm right. They just don't strike me about that. Nifty 50/50, is it okay if folks post their questions in the tank? And I can get them to you just in case they can't figure out the website. Absolutely. 100%. Thanks, Nifty 50/50. Guys, if you go over to Meal website and click on this little fishy, that will take you to the fish tank. The fish tank is where we hang out and talk about true crime. We've got like 4,700 of us in there. And, oh, wow. James, I didn't see this before we started. But anyway, yeah. So if you have questions for Anna, post them here in the fish tank, and Nifty 50/50 will get them my way. Okay? Let's definitely do that. Great. Thank you for volunteering for doing that. YouTube changed everyone's names? Huh. Interesting. Let's see. Pauline Buckles, 2310. Do we know if she passed the polygraph? I do not think we do know that. I don't think that has come out. By she, you mean Malaya Brooks Murray? Yeah, the only person who claims to have taken a polygraph test and claims to have passed is Mr. Martell. Ms. Brooks Murray, I haven't seen it anyway. Haven't heard anything from her. Robin Robinson, if the mom and stepdad involved in the drug scene, Jack and Lily's disappearance could be a factor if the parents own money. I mean, that's as good a theory as I could come up with, but I don't know. It's Antigonish. No, I don't even believe you. Okay, I am appreciative of you. I love that you're here, but that doesn't even sound like a real place. Okay, you know what that sounds like? That sounds like a British food. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like a sampler plate at the Tug and Pony. No, I don't. I mean, I'm not calling you a liar. It just, you guys are making things up over there. You're making things up. Man, it keeps refreshing on me. All right. Next thing I want to show you guys. Thanks for your comments, and thanks for having a good sense of humor about it too. Let's see, one more came in. Amy Goldsmith, why no focus on the missing brother? Not you in general. Not an interview, not even sure of his name, but it was stated he lived in the trailer camper in the back. So did he? When did he leave? Yeah, I haven't seen any focus on him either. I don't know. I haven't been able to find that information. Great comment or great question. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's go over to the other thing I wanted to show you guys. I thought this was terrific because this shows just how much this case is affecting so many people. And I wanted to read this, though I'm sorry that my voice is like this right now. Truro poet pens piece for missing Sullivan children. It's affecting us big time. Chad Norman wrote the poem, not only thinking about the Sullivan children, he said, but how their disappearance is affecting Nova Scotians. Okay, A Truro poet has recently written about the missing Sullivan children in a piece titled Without the Whereabouts. Oh my goodness, who wrote this? Aidan Rotting wrote this. It was published today. You used titled correctly as opposed to entitled, which so many other people used. Good on you, sir. Okay, a Truro poet has recently written about the missing Sullivan children in a piece titled Without the Whereabouts. Jack and Lily Sullivan were reported missing from their home, blah, blah, blah. I'm yada-yadaing, not because I don't care, but we all know. We've gone over it. Chad Norman said he wrote the poem not only thinking about the children, but thinking about how their disappearance is affecting Nova Scotians. It's affecting us big time, he said. As a poet, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to observe. I'm supposed to listen, and I'm supposed to comment. He said that in the poem, he wanted to examine the public speculation online surrounding the case, which you and I are engaged in, right? Quote, I haven't followed any of this on social media, and I don't need to. I don't care to, he said. But when you go on all these podcasts, all these people that have developed these podcasts now, suspicion is there, speculation is there, and that is true. Absolutely true. Norman has written about other events that have impacted Nova Scotians, such as the mass casualty from April 2020. For example, he said such as, and for example, it's a little clunky, but you used titled, so I'm going to forgive you. Part of why he writes about real-life events is because it challenges him as a poet. He believes that Jack and Lily are part of many families across the province now, which is what shaped the end of the poem. Everybody's got some connection to young children. You do in some way, you're connected to them, he said. And that's how I came up with the ending for the poem. I knew so many people were watching, so many people were tuned in, so many people were anxious to know something, he continued. Lily and Jack are now part of so many families in Nova Scotia, and I would add to the rest of the world. The rest of us, we care too. Norman shared his poem with the Truro News, which is below. So I thought that I would read this. And it has a different type of construction, which I thoroughly enjoy. Amateurs like me, would-be poets like me, tend to just do kind of limerick style stuff, right? Da 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 da. No, this is written differently, and I really enjoy it. So I just want to share it with you. Here's the poem, Without the Whereabouts. Let us think, only a moment, here we go again. Let us see, closely and closer, there we look again. And now we find a Nova Scotia state of mind. Never mind about Ferlinghetti or Coney Island. The poet found in me offers the following words. A beginning or no beginning with Sunrisen, what mystery has in store for us? Lately it speaks a specific language, difficult to decipher, even for the detectives. A disappearance or no disappearance claims. Claims made as parents spoke about differences. One morning made for a family, children, just two, sister and brother. Differences when they said they noticed neither could be heard. A phone call or no phone call proof will be in what belief forms in the mother's mouth or forms in father's. Either way, it is the words. Both provide for all the growing media frenzy, even though 911 preserves the starting point. Questionable time when the missing began. A school day or no school day after a cough. In the body of the daughter kept home, kept by hopefully normal attentive parents. She may have needed in a normal way to tell something, to give them a chance to decide. She was well again, ready for the bus stop. A unity, or no unity, honestly, active in a brother, found in the trust his 4-year-old mind knew before he too went somewhere. Follower of Big Sister, said to have taken a white backpack. He too at her side gone, without the whereabouts. Both heard, then not heard, a different morning. A property or no property, only Forrest knows, where it and the yard ends, choices to play in one or the other, even after the patio door somehow kept quiet about them both, one in the care of fences, the other raised by shade. If they only knew how to speak, updates, leads, language left among the scattered toys, left like whispers the bark and branches offer us. A need or no need to crave anything new. Podcast after podcast, waiting for a like, a subscriber. How their numbers grow, sad and lowly method to bring in the payments. 2 children missing, vanished. What a way to earn the filthy lucre. 2 and unbelievably many more expert sleuths. Just give them a camera and a microphone, and a public split open by theories, daily wait for news. A location or no location out there somewhere. If, be careful using that word out there, where? Stillness must surround them, still in their bodies. Breath's movement somewhere. Breathes movement somewhere, sorry. Still sister and brother, out there, where no missing can change them, always together, much more than the photos shown. Both faces smile new to the province, forever descriptions, now part of so many families. I thought that that was a beautiful poem with an interesting take. And I don't mind the criticism. I am a YouTuber that is talking about this case, and I don't mind the criticism. And yeah, I make a living, at least partially, by doing this. My answer to that is that at least here on this channel, we're not would-be sleuths trying to just speculate and speculate and speculate. We really, the purpose of following this case for me was to give more attention to it, so that if anybody happened to be in my audience that knew anything about it, they would be able to call in that tip. And if I could just add a little bit to that, we also, me, you, everyone in this audience, we honestly care about these poor little kiddos. We care about them. We're not trying to be horrified by terrible things that happen to little children. No, we want the best for these kids. We want them to be found. We want them to be safe. So I don't mind the criticism. That's just my response. I don't think it's fair, at least on this channel. I can't speak for anyone else. But a beautiful poem, and one that does express exactly how Nova Scotians, I believe, I'm not a Nova Scotian, but at least the evidence demonstrates to me that he has captured the feeling that so many Nova Scotians are feeling about the disappearance of these kiddos. All right, let's go to your comments before we wrap it up for the day. Let me just refresh it here. All right. T. Jones, 5516. It seems like no one is crying over the loss of these kids. I'm bawling watching the Hortman Memorial and their dog's urn. I don't get it. I think a lot of us are crying over these kids. When you say nobody, I wonder if you mean maybe the family members in their interviews and stuff like that. Maybe. I mean, I've seen Mr. Martell get choked up a little bit. I saw the grandmother get choked up a little bit. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Oh, you're talking to somebody else there. Robin, are you intentionally matching the light behind you with that color of your shirt you're wearing? I gotta know. Yes, I did choose that color because of the color that I am wearing. Let's Talk Disabilities. I sent you a link today that says Lily's body was found today. I'm not saying this is true, but did you see it or know anything about this? I did see it, and when I looked at that link, it looked like an AI-generated clickbait kind of link. Actually, the very kind of link that Mr. Norman was talking about in his poem, that's what it looked like to me. So I went to the RCMP to see if there's been any report straight to the RCMP or to the CBC or to CTV. I have seen no such report, and I promise you that report would be out if it were true. So that's what I think there. Thank you for sending it my way. You are welcome, Heather. Whatever. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat, Sanaton. Grateful for that. All right, and let's see if there's any other Refreshify happening here. Nope, looks like we're good. Hey guys, I am going to take the weekend off. I'm going to try to get better. I really need to mow my lawn, but I think I'm going to wrangle one of our children into doing that. Do not forget that on Wednesday, we are going to be having Anna Sonoda back on the channel. So either reach out to me through my website, gavinfish.com, link is down below, or post in the fish tank on Facebook if you have any questions. Nifty 50/50 will make sure they come my way, and I will get everything over to Anna over the weekend. Probably be the only task that I do over the weekend other than just resting. By the way, today I have a opinion piece coming out. It's scheduled for Sunday. In the publication that I work for, I've been on the crime desk. Like, there's just been so much petty crime in our area lately. And so I've written a piece about how stupid criminals are, especially those who engage in retail theft, and how just it surprises me how so many of them don't understand what's happening when Walmart is waiting until you've stolen multiple times so you can be charged with a felony. Anyway, I've been up to here with stupid criminals, but you know what happened today? I got to go out and talk with a family who tragically last night their house burned down. What happened was the dog, while most everybody was away, appeared to have gotten something up on the counter and pushed something onto the stove and then turned on the burner, and they completely lost their house. But in reporting on that, I got to talk to the first assistant fire chief who connected me with people that are working to help them. And it just reminded me that there's so many good people in this world. It's just, when tragedy takes place, there's so many people that come in to help. And actually, the case of Lily and Jack is another reminder of that. How many people spent how many thousands of hours searching for these children? The other thing that I got to do today was go out deep into Clarion County and take pictures of a giant fiberglass statue of a cow that's just out there, because at one time there was a dairy that worked out there. That was a blast. I don't know. I love roadside attractions. So today's been a great day. I'm tired. It's been a long week. I've been dealing with stupid criminals in my day job, but today was a great day. I hope it was a great day for you too. We'll be back on Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, which, are we into July already on Monday? Oh, the 30th. Okay, the 30th is Monday, and then Tuesday will be July. So, wow, I can't believe that we're already through that. So, have yourself a terrific weekend, those of you on the live stream. Those of you on the Rewatch crew, have a great time whenever you are. With that, I bid you adieu until the next time. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.